Welcome, class, to today's lesson on the water cycle. We'll go ahead and get started here in a couple seconds. I've posted this to, I believe, all your Moodles, so you're able to view it. Take notes, please, because these notes will be in your notebook. We'll pray and get started. Dear Lord, I thank you for this day. I pray that you would be with this lesson, help it to be conveyed properly. Please be with my students as they're taking notes, help them to get all the notes down, and for them to be able to finish their homework. In your name I pray, amen. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. The water cycle starts with evaporation, where water turns into steam, and then that steam rises into the air and creates clouds, which brings us to condensation. This condensation forms clouds, obviously, and then eventually will go to precipitation, where rain, hail, snow, sleet, other forms of water fall back to the surface. So first we're going to talk about evaporation. Evaporation is the process when liquid water from groundwater due to precipitation and bodies of water evaporate and turn into water. Now, the easiest way to put this is watching your hot kettle on the stove as you're making tea. The water will start to heat up within the kettle because the kettle's hot, and it'll form steam, and it makes that whistle sound when it's ready because the steam comes out of the hole at the end of your kettle. So obviously, once that steam starts coming out of that very small hole, it hisses, and you're able to know that your hot water is ready for your tea. Then we come to condensation. Condensation is the process when the water vapor from evaporation transforms into liquid water. The condensed water then turns into clouds, which then later on produce precipitation. Clouds are created by water vapors turning back into water droplets, but congealing to dust particles in the air. So when a bunch of them come together, obviously you get clouds formed different ways. You have like the cirrus clouds up higher, the cumulonimbus a little bit lower. Those are mainly our storm clouds. So those will have a lot of water, and then just like your fog too, because in the morning when you're walking through the fog, you kind of feel like a little wet, or there's always more dew on the ground when there's fog. It's because of condensation. Then we come to precipitation. Precipitation is the process where the liquid water precipitates or falls back to earth in the form of rain, snow, sleet, or hail. The rain or snow, sleet, or hail water runs off the surface of the earth into collections like rivers, streams, lakes, oceans, etc., and will be used again for evaporation. So this goes to seeing rain, dew. There's obviously all the different lakes and rivers that collect the water. This water then eventually will turn into steam due to evaporation from the sun, and then start the cycle all over again. So first we're going to go over our discussion questions. So I would like you guys to bring back some answers for these two questions. Where do we see God's order in this cycle? I'll say it one more time. But God's order in this cycle is the reason that we see the Trinity. So there's three parts to the cycle. God is three in one. So it's easier to see God's handiwork within this because of the Trinity. You see that it's able to reproduce crops and rain to make the grass grow, the trees grow, and it's easier to see that through God's eyes. Then our second question would be, what would be different if God did not create this water cycle? What could happen to the plants? What could happen to people? What could happen to just the water on the earth, period? So just have that in mind. Please keep your answers somewhat short. I don't want them to be super long. I will be grading them to check your completion as well as your participation within this lesson. And other than that, there's no other homework. We do not need to worry about any section reviews, any extra reading. For this, we'll just stick to that. When we have class next time, we'll go ahead and do a experiment going over this lesson. I believe it should be our next class period, hopefully. But I pray that you guys are able to get all these notes down, get them ready for your notebooks, and answer those questions.